Kia ora te whānau. I'm not going to start with a song because that was so beautiful. I can't compete. E tika ana, kia tuku aku whakamāna atu atahi ki a rangi nui ki a papatu anuku. Kia hau, mō rātou te tīmatanga, mō rātou te tīmata o tēnei ao. E whakaaro nui ana ki a rātou, kei te rua oki oki tēnei wā. O tira rātou whānau, e tino whakaaro nui ana hau ki tako kuraua. E noho māwiwi ana i tēnei wā ki a whare hui a Noroi, ki tana whānau. O tira ki a tātou te hunga ora, tēnā tātou katoa. It is such a privilege to be here today. I am very nervous, mainly because English is not my best language. It's also not my first language. So I really apologise if my language comes across not clearly. But I fully believe in, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please ask them. And if I'm not making sense, please say so. I will not be offended whatsoever. When Lee asked me to come and do this presentation, I thought, oh, okay, then this will be great, this will be fun. And then she told me that there was going to be, if I could present in English, and then she told me that there was going to be quite a few people. And since then, it's been, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to talk about? Luckily for me, it's about a kaupapa that I'm really passionate about, waiata Māori. So yeah, we'll just get into it. I'm just going to figure out this technology and how it works. Okay, so I suppose just to elaborate on who I am, name's Ani-Piki. I have various mountains, but I'm from the east coast of the North Island, from the paradise of the world known as Tolaga Bay. So on that note, ko titirangi te maunga, ko mōringa te rangi te maunga, ko hiku wai, ko uawa te awa, ko tere anini, ko horauta te waka, ko ngā tikuri te hapu, ko te aitanga hauiti te iwi. That's one side. I have very many sides, but we'll just stick with that one today. Waiata Māori. What is waiata Māori, I suppose, is the question, maybe. And when I think about waiata Māori, you know, there are a lot of questions that come to mind. What is waiata Māori? Why is this important? Other than it being a song in te reo Māori, how does waiata Māori inform the Māori language? How does it inform people? And I suppose on that note, it is important first and foremost to understand that anything relevant to Māori, to a Māori worldview, holds or has what we call whakapapa. Yeah? Now, whakapapa, according to this beautiful lady, Rachel Ka'ai Mahuta, awesome friend of mine, also an academic, she says that whakapapa is the foundation to all Māori practices, Māori ways of knowing, doing and being. She said it in a more flasher way, but this is my breakdown of that. So whakapapa, or otherwise known as genealogy, there is an origin or beginning to everything Māori. Whakapapa denotes a time, a place, a setting, a theme, an idea, an event, a person even. Everything, you name it. And it's no different to waiata Māori. The origin of waiata Māori, as I've been taught, comes from our environment. Yeah? And it's a manifestation of how we experience the world. That sounds really hippie right now. But if we break it down to say traditional Māori, traditional waiata Māori, to the current or contemporary forms of waiata Māori, then it may not sound so holistically unreachable. So, on that note, just wanted to introduce you to some traditional waiata Māori. Have you Are you familiar with mōteatea? Oh, lawe, yes. So mōteatea. Mōteatea is, I suppose, the term we use for all traditional waiata Māori. These ones are, I suppose, for traditional, so there's technically 6. No, that's 5. There's technically 5, but we've also added on another one there called kaiora. Kaiora is also known as a haka. And when we think of waiata, haka is also affiliated or associated to waiata. Yeah? So we have pātere, waiata tangi, waiata aroha, karakia, oriori, kaiora. I'm just going to quickly go through each of them. I think they're quickly. And I suppose what you learn from them. So a pātere. A pātere is a song that's quite fast, quite monotonous as well. And what you learn in pātere is who occupies the land. Sometimes you may learn who married who. You may learn who is who hurt who. Does that make sense? Yeah. Sometimes in a pātere two people will lay down a challenge. And it's all very, I wouldn't say aggressive, but it's very matter of fact. Oh, sorry. Right? And then in a waiata tangi, waiata aroha, these are usually affiliated to these topics of things: grieving, death, love, heartbreak. Waiata tangi, waiata aroha. So the sounds they make are quite beautiful. So for example, one of my favourite all-time waiata tangi, and it's not because I'm depressing, but I just really love the messages behind it, is a waiata called kōrero hua hua. And it talks about a lady, Hine Kokia is her name, and she had lost a child to a fire. And the worst thing in that situation was that she watched her son burn to death. And I'm not a mother, but I can't even comprehend how sad that would be, and how heartbreaking that would be. So she composed a waiata tangi, and it's it starts a bit like, sorry, it goes, e hika mai, I hoki mai awi, kōrero hua hua, you can hear, and I suppose just on that note and how she sings it and how she chose her selection of words, for me it invokes a lot of raw emotion. And every time I have to sing this song, every time I hear this song, I get little goosebumps just listening to all of the lulls in her voice. So that's the power for me that waiata tangi have, as well as waiata aroha. Moving on though, oriori. Oriori are lullabies. They're lullabies. In my opinion, the traditional lullabies would put anyone to sleep. But the beauty of these oriori, or these lullabies, is that they tell someone, or they usually tell a child, their whakapapa, where they come from, where they originate from, or they can tell stories from their tribe or our tribe. They give history. Yeah? And some oriori also prophesize the future. Or, yeah, that's what a prophecy is, I say. So there's oriori. And then we have karakia. It's only been more recent, I suppose, in today's time that we make karakia, we've turned karakia into mōteatea. Yeah? Why? Because some of our karakia get forgotten. So the best way we know how to revive them is through song. And sometimes the karakia are so long that we put them in pātere, in a pātere form, so that we can get from the beginning to the end. And the cool thing about karakia, or mōteatea karakia, is that they tell us who the Māori gods are. They give us an idea of the Māori worldview, or they give us an idea of Māori practices or traditions, and they give us an idea of Hawaii, where we came from and our ancestors, and it tells about all of their trials and tribulations. So that's one of the awesome things about karakia. Kai ora ora, more tētia these days, but traditionally a haka. You don't want to be, you don't want to have somebody write a kai ora ora about you. Kai ora ora, I suppose, is a song that's written about people, and it's not a very nice song. Yeah, it's usually someone who is very angry at someone, for lack of better words. And so the form is usually haka, it sort of sounds really angry, a lot of foul language, a lot of hurtful language. Interestingly, not surprising at all, most kai ora ora are written by women. Because we know how to, no, I won't push that further. So that's one of the cool things about, I do not know any kai ora ora, thankfully. But that is also another form. So, what was my next point? Just bear with me for a second, whānau. So, I suppose on that note, you can see how our environment or our lives or the whakapapa of our people all influence how we waiata Māori, or how waiata Māori came to be. It's even present in how we sing and how in the sound, or how it's composed. So mōteatea, the sound of the mōteatea, if we liken it to the environments, you know, traditionally people lived inland, or not inland, by the beach. I didn't know what that word was, so we'll just stick with by the beach. By the water. And obviously they both have different environments, you know, inland bush, land trees, mountain ranges. And then out by the water, it's more water, it's more open, beach, rocks, sky, clouds. And so, you know, the birds sung differently inland to the birds that sung out by the beach, which is what influenced these songs. Even how you listen to the wind when it rustles amongst the trees. Inland, it's very different to when you're out at sea and how you hear the wind out there. So that's all of those things influenced my tipuna to compose their waiata mōteatea. And I suppose in relation to the language within mōteatea, for me mōteatea or traditional Māori songs are, when it comes to the Māori language, there is no better language. There's a lot of metaphors in traditional language, traditional waiata, and you get it's like a window into their world and what they went through and all their trials and tribulations and things like that. So I absolutely love mōteatea. Some examples in terms of the sound. Kahura is a karakia, it's a karakia mōteatea. Its tribe of the song that this originates from is from the tribe of Ngāti Konohi. Anyone know Derek Lardeli? This is his tribe. This is also his karakia. So his people are situated by the beach in the region that's in is in the Gisborne East Coast region. The form is a karakia. And this mōteatea is about the eponymous ancestor of that tribe, Paikia, who travelled the seas on a whale to get to New Zealand. There's a huge history and a huge story behind that, but we won't tell you that story. But just to give you an example of the sound, so if we think of, you know, when you're at the beach and you're listening to the waves, sometimes it's quite fast and it's quite big, the waves and the crashing of the waves, and that's sort of how the song sounds. So, for example, Pai kia riki e whanake nei kei te kakau, kakau, kakau e, hiki kakau, roki tāko, tāko. Yeah, so that's the trying to, I suppose, put into sound the waves. Oh, crashing of the waves. Sorry, Mike. Another one, and in terms of an inland mōteatea, this is pōpō, this is a lullaby. This is associated to the tribal groups Rongo Whakaoko and Te Aitanga Mahaki, which is all inland. It's a lullaby, and in this lullaby, it talks about how the Horo Te Waka came to Gisborne from Hawaii, and how the kumara came to be, and the kumara is a really big thing for us back home. In Rongo Whakaoko and Te Aitanga Mahaki, the environment there is very flat land, mountain ranges. So the mōteatea, this one, goes Pōpō e tangi ana tama ki te kaima, nā waihone tiki ake ki te pai, ahau ai hei amai, te paka. Can you hear the difference? You know, this one's quite flat, whereas the first one is quite up and down. So that's what I mean by our environment really informs or really influences how we compose the waiata. So that's traditional, to what I know. There are far more interesting stories involved in that too, but we won't go there, we'll be here all day. I just wanted to also touch a little bit on contemporary. Well, I like to call them songs of the now rather than contemporary. I have no reason why. But the most popular, I suppose, singers or groups who sing te reo Māori songs today are people like Maizirika, Rob Ruha, Mainoa, and Te Kākano.
Are you weaponry?
Pardon? Am I what?
Alien weaponry?
Alien weaponry. Well, see now, yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah, these are just examples. Like, love those boys. Yep, and then we also have singers and bands that are Māori and uplift things Māori, but they don't necessarily sing in te reo Māori. Sometimes they do, and that's cool. So, I suppose in terms of where these artists have got to today, you know, if I think back to people like this amazing man, Sir Howard Morrison. During his time, I suppose the sound of the big band and jazz swing was really major, you know. Unfortunately, the language wasn't as strong back then, but music, particularly the style and form of music, helped to revive the language. And interestingly, I found out that Sir Howard Morrison became famous for his song How Great Thou Art with his quartet, but it didn't really get worldwide famous until he sang it in Māori, which I thought was pretty cool. But then I started to find a pattern, and thinking about this dude here, Dalvania's Prime, when him and Moi Pewhairangi composed Poie, and how that became a huge international, national success. And it was cool, and it was all in te reo Māori. And I thought, oh, that's really cool too. And these are all in the late, when I wasn't born. And then I think about this man here, Prince Tuitika. You know, he was first originally started in a band and then decided to go solo. And one of his biggest hits when he first started was Eipo. Eipo, yes. You know, and interesting that again was all in te reo Māori. Another amazing person, Moana Maniapoto. You know, she was working with Dalvania's Prime there for a short time as well, during Poie, and then, you know, Black Pearl, yes, precious little girl. And then in '99 she put out Kona Te Reo, you know, which was like, wow. But more and more of these amazing artists, singers, were becoming, I suppose it was almost like using music as a decolonising tool, for lack of a better word. That's a pretty strong statement, sorry. But it became a tool. It became a tool for them. Some of the other people that were really important in that too, where these amazing people hidden in Melbourne. The Marama Puoro, shaved tooth, yes. And then that's for Polynesian, you know, not just Māori, Polynesia as well. Herbs, Tony Huata, a lot of respect for her. And see this group here, they're the Upper Hut Posse. They were the first band in Māori to rap in Māori. So, you know, these are all, I suppose, this is all the whakapapa of waiata Māori of today. Someone that got really famous was this lady, Hene Mohi. Yeah, can anyone tell me why she became really famous?
She sang the national anthem.
Yeah, she did. She sang the national anthem into the Māori both times, which was really courageous, I thought. She never got famous for her songs, but just for that fact. just for singing the national anthem into their Māori. And, you know, I suppose during that time, again, she was using it as a tool to fight for the language. One of the things that I'm just going to briefly go through is just the history, I suppose. One of many, this is not the ultimate, just in terms of how the language has come about throughout the years. So obviously, Treaty of Waitangi in 1840. Then in 1842, we had the first newspaper in Te Reo Māori called Te Kōrero o New Zealand. Yeah. And then in 1867 was the Native Schools Act, where we weren't allowed to speak Māori. And then in 1905 was the first time kamate was performed by the Originals. This is before they became All Blacks. In 1961, the Hunt Report came out, where it stated that Te Reo Māori was a relic of ancient Māori life. 1972, in Aotearoa, the petition for the Māori language was taken to government. 1982, the Kohanga Reo movement was established. Or actually, it was the first Kohanga Reo that came up that was erected. Yeah. 1980, that year, we had the first radio station, Reo Māori radio station, and it was here in Wellington, Te Reo Pōneke. 87, we had Taurewhiri. Taurewhiri Te Reo Māori was established, and also the Te Ture Reo Māori. We were allowed to speak Te Reo Māori again. That was literally the year before I was born. 93, Te Māngai Kauhau came to be. 99, Inuihi, the national anthem in Te Reo Māori. 2004, Māori television came to life. I look at that history and I think, man, that's still recent to me. That's still very recent to me. And then I think about those artists and where they were placed in this timeline. It makes sense to me as to why they were using music to bring about consciousness around Te Reo Māori and not having it. Te Māngai Pāho. I suppose here I have many hats. One of my hats is to produce music. It's probably my favourite hat, other than teaching Te Reo Māori, sorry. And this part, I suppose, is just talking about not the difficulties, but the difficulties around producing Māori music. Obviously, I'm not going to assume that you don't know processes around commissions and everything like that. I'm not going to assume that. But, you know, Te Māngai Pāho are the main source of income support for Māori music that I'm aware of. You know, and the process there is, you know, it's a process, you can't change that. But it is quite lengthy. You know, submit your proposal, you've got to compose your songs, you have to compose your songs. upon submitting your proposal through to Te Māngai Pāho, 80% of the song must already be recorded. So you have to already invest and put in a lot of money before you can even be supported. They offer approximately $4,000 per song. These are the people involved in creating one song. You have a kaihautu matua or executive producer, kaihautu a producer, kai tito waiata a composer, kai tito rangi the composer of the tune, kai hopu oro a sound engineer, ruma hopu oro the studio or recording room, ringa puoro or the musicians, you have the puoro the actual instruments, you have the kai waiata the singers, and in anything to do with Te Māngai Pāho, you're required to have a pautikanga, somebody who oversees the language and to ensure that it's quality. It's, yeah, that makes sense, eh? Yeah, cool. So these are all the things that $4,000 needs to cover. And then when you go in to record a song, you know, depending on how great or how good the recording artist is, determines how long it will take to record your song. So sometimes it can take a whole day just to record one song. And then it takes another day to put down all the instruments, to record all the instruments. And then it can take another day to do all the fixing up and making it sound awesome and, you know, adding colour and all of that beautiful stuff. And then only then do you submit it back to Te Māngai Pāho who say, that's awesome, or oh, we don't really like that, we need you to fix this. So after paying all your people and then spending 3 days in studio, which is $1,000 a day, then you hope that you met the targets so that they don't turn around and say, sorry, we need you to have another day in studio to fix what we don't like, which is fair enough. So on that, so you can see how much I suppose the money doesn't quite fit the job. And then if you're lucky, and you create an album of songs, then you also have to consider the publicity or the launch. Yeah. So you have your kaimahi whakaoko, your photographer, or your camera operator sounding. Then you have your costumes, your outfits, your makeup, then you have to set up your interviews, and then if you want to do a music video, that's another cost on top of that. That's not, so this is all again on $4,000 for one song. So just wanted to park that there for a moment, because just wanted to show you a few of the things that I've been really fortunate to be a part of. I was only a little girl, I think I was maybe about 11 when I was introduced to recording in studio. This is my family, excluding my dad's not in there, so and he always gets it for that. But those are my three brothers, and that lady over there is my mum. She is the reason that me and my brothers we were all classically trained in music. So I play the violin. My brother with the big beard, he plays the saxophone. This is my baby brother Hamiora, he's the one with the hat on over there. He's the singer, the guitarist. And the other brother over there, to me, he's the most talented of us when it comes to instruments and music. He plays the guitar, the bass, the cello, the trumpet, the piano, the drums, everything. And since before I can even remember, we were singing. Family singing was a really important thing in my family. And it's a really important thing I've learned, and I didn't always know this, to Māori. Singing in a family, that's where the whole kapa haka comes from too, yeah, because we sing together, we haka together, kapa is group. We were raised in the South Island, in the not a little place, but in the deep, deep south of Invercargill. And unbeknown to me, we apparently didn't have we didn't have a lot of access to Māori things. I didn't know that. My parents were really great at surrounding us around Māori environments all the time. My parents don't speak te reo Māori. but all of my family, all me and my brothers, we all went to Hangareo. We all went to Kura Kaipapa Māori. Our homes were our marae, because our marae, we were like a 2-hour flight away. So our world was very situated in our homes. And music was probably the biggest vehicle that my family used to learn te reo Māori and to maintain te reo Māori. So in 2011, my mum created an album called Everlasting Truth. And that was the first time I sang in the studio, and that was scary. I promised I'd never do that again. But it was a great first experience, and it was I was really lucky that I got to do it with my mum. But I always acknowledge my mum. She's the one person that got all of us into this world. So that's that. 2000, fast forward a few years, I was pulled into this group called Mania, where it was a fluke that I got into this group actually. Amo Mai, who's the main singer there, the one in the middle, she was part of a group called Aria, who was probably one of the first Māori bands. Oh no, that's probably pop sort of band, sort of like the Spice Girls, but the Māori version of them. That's what Amo Mai was part of. And we became really close friends. And then I moved to Auckland and started working for Māori television, and she'd already started recording this album with the 4 that were there. And then she said to me one day, Ani, I need you to come with me, we're just going to go and do something. I said, oh yes, sweet as. So I went with her, and we ended up at a home studio. And I was like, oh, you're going to sing some songs, girl? And she said, no, you are. Here's the words, and here's the song, so you make up what you're going to sing. That's how I got a Mania. Did not expect that it would be as successful as it was. Why? Because it was pre-My Moa, who became quite a bit of a success. And there were more people wanting Māori music. And that's something that Amo Mai was also very passionate about, was creating more Māori music. So that was that. And then in that time I met a beautiful man. His name's Matt Sadgrove. He's my #1 sound engineer now. He's also in a band called Sons of Zion. He's created their current hit, Drift Away. He also does their music. He's recently been approached by Pharrell Williams from over in America to record one of his songs. And it was all by fluke actually. I was working on another project. Excuse me. I was working on another project which is coming up soon. And Matt showed me a song that he'd been sort of keeping in the pipelines, because it was a song to his partner, so it was really personal to him. And he had asked one of his bandmates to sing it, and they sang it, and he was beautiful. The person that sang it was beautiful, and I said to him, he's beautiful, but he's the wrong voice. He's the wrong voice for this song. I said, you should get someone else. I didn't think he was going to do it, but he did. He went and got Machu Walters from 660 to sing the song. And then Machu loved it so much, he contacted Pharrell and said, hey bro, look at this. And the coolest thing about all of this, every single one of these people are Māori, even Pharrell Williams. So I suppose now, and so, hang on, so we'll get to that point soon. This next project that I was on was Te Kākano. Yes, that's that person, same person with the hat was over here. This was a project that I took up after Mania, after I seen the need, or heard I suppose, for more Māori music, particularly for rangatahi. Rangatahi were wanting more Māori music. I have 5 nephews, but during this time when we first started this project, I only had 1 nephew and he couldn't understand a word of English. And so he would get really frustrated because he'd listen to the same songs all the time, because there wasn't enough. So that was a huge motivation for me to do something. And so this kaupapa came about Te Kākano, where I selected 4 individual artists to come together to create an album of purely te reo Māori songs of different types of styles, genres. Why I selected these people is because I knew them. No other reason than I just knew them. And I love their voices. They're all kōhanga reo kura kaupapa Māori kids. They're not all necessarily fluent in te reo Māori, but they're passionate about music, they're passionate about singing, and they're passionate about who they are. So this project went for 3 years as we tried to get more and more money in to help support the project, and Matt supported me the whole way through. We all got underpaid for this one. I didn't get paid at all, but the money was never a thing for me because my motivation was creating more content for my nephew and for the next generation. The most recent project that I just finished was Te Matatini ki te Ao. I was really fortunate actually to be a part of this. My cousin Wipere, this man over here, the glasses, he is the lawyer for Aotearoa Kapaka Limited, who is affiliated to Te Matatini as far as I know. And he approached me after the launch of Te Kākano and said, I want to create a song for Te Matatini, the Matatini Festival, that will help launch Te Matatini. And I said, that's a great idea, let's do it. And so that's how that happened. It wasn't that I was the best or anything, it was just because we're related. Whakapapa. And so he reached out to me and we started to create this concept, and then next thing you know, we're trying to do a project of 10 people in the space of 2 days. Also, so we recorded a song, we also did a music video in 2 days. And Te Matatini ki te Ao came out, and it was, without trying to sound whakahihi, I don't know what the Pākehā word is for that. I suppose, like I'm talking about myself, making myself sound real big. It was a success, thankfully, thankfully. And being able to work with all of these individual artists. So we have Whenua Patuai, who was on New Zealand's X Factor. He's also part of my kapa, Whangara Mai Tawhiti. He hasn't quite made the stage yet, but he will. He's just got to work on his haka. Rob Ruha, who's my big cousin, he didn't have a choice. Then we have Pere Wihongi. Oh, sorry, Rob Ruha also heavily involved in kapaka. Te whānau apanui, any kapaka in the coast, east coast, he's all there. Pere Wihongi, he's just started his own kapa in Auckland, called Ani-Piki. Hamiora Tuari, she's in a band called Tomorrow People. Tomorrow People, yeah. Her mother, Manatu Taonga, was the reason kapahaka existed in Invercargill. And she was raised in all of the Invercargill teams. Next to her, oh no, don't worry about the rest of them because those are just the makeup. No, not just, but those are our beautiful makeup artists and costume. The man standing at the back there with the hat and the white jeans, that's Matt. That's Matt Sabgrove, he was our sound engineer. The lady in the front here with the white hat, that's Ginny Maxwell. She was part of this Matatini project because she was part of Wellington, who was hosting the Matatini. And she's also one of, I suppose at any sort of kapahaka festival, you have your favourite soloists. She's one of them. Yeah. And then you have Carl Ross, the CEO. This girl on the couch, Hine Te Rā. She was probably the underdog of this project. She was selected because I think she can sing. And I think she's an amazing singer. And part of this project too was also to try and help more artists who aren't familiar with this world come into this industry. And so I pulled her in and she freaked out the whole 2 days, but she was amazing. Then we have Jaden Randall, who we all call our Māori Moana. She was the voice of Moana in the translation. Nehana Mackie Harrison, he is now the lead singer for the reggae band 1814. He was raised in Christchurch, and all his singing background is all kapahaka, te reo Māori. And then of course, my baby brother. So these are all the, I suppose, one of the things with all of these kaupapa, and I never knew that I'd do this, but Te reo Māori drives a lot of this for me in terms of trying to make it relevant, trying to make it reachable. One of the things that I get really upset about as a Te Reo Māori speaker, but also as a Te Reo Māori teacher, is this idea that, oh, that's really tapu. We shouldn't do that when it comes to the Māori language. Whereas I say differently. We need to learn it and we need to embrace it. However that is for you, however that it may be for my students, and one of the biggest forms that I do that is through music, it's through waiata Māori, and I hope to continue to do that. So, on that note, whānau, I'm going to teach you a song today. It's only just a little bit of the song. This song is called Tuarua. It's from the album Te Kākano. This is probably our biggest hit on that album. If you know it, even better. But my baby brother's going to give a little exemplar. And then we're just going to learn the first verse and the chorus. Cool?
Kia ora whānau. I just got caught up this morning.
Well, he had a gig already at the Kōrero Trust. And we're on the same flight back home to Auckland. So I said, hey, what are you coming for, Brett? Yeah, your show. Yeah, my show. I need you to sing a song. I'll just quickly go through the words. Ko takurite ko te torea. I'm going to try and translate it now. Ko takurite ko te torea. I'm like that of the torea bird. I think that's an oyster catcher. Don't quote me on that one though. Karere katopa. It flies, it soars. Ki runga e in the sky. Tauiho ki te tahuna, and then it flies down to the beach. Ki te keri I te pātaka o hine moana. To take, to fish maybe, to partake in the cabinet, in the food store of Hine Moana, the goddess of the sea. Yeah. Taitinui taipari, that's the waves coming in and out. He poto noi ho te wā, the time is short for us to do that. Ka whati ko te tai, ka pao te torea. There's an actual translation for this, but I don't know. It's the meaning of that, it's a whakatauki, yeah? Or a proverb. And the meaning of that is strike while the iron is hot. Yeah? So don't dilly-dally, do it while you can. Do it now. Kotahi atu ana, which isn't on there because I forgot to write that word. It's kotahi atu ana all together, let's all do it. So I think it's pretty cool that this song became the hit of our album because it's encouraging people to get up there and do it. I think you should seriously consider taking this song or using it in a competition of some sort. I mean, it's 3-part harmony here, but I'm just saying. Just wanted to thank you all so much for having me today. Again, it's been a privilege. I hope there was something in there for you. If not, 3-part harmony song. Heoi, ki tia koe taku taina, e rere ana tōne taku aroha ki a koe. O tira ki tō hoa, ki tō pepe, ki taku pepe. Ki o hoa mahi katoa, e whakahihi nui ana hau i a koe. Me o mahi katoa. Me tēnei kaupapa, nui tai ore ore. But thank you, whānau, thank you so much. It's been a privilege. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day and the rest of the week. Thank you.